Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Saturday, the 7th of October 2023. And we're publishing our Gold and Silver Weekly Update for the week ending the 6th of October. Gold and silver were down again this past week, though it did recover somewhat towards the end of the week. But the overall picture still looks bleak. Why? Well, let's take a look and find out. Now first, just a quick reminder, we've set up a second channel entitled Finances Do Matter, covering a whole array of financial topics. We've placed a link in the description box and comment section below for those who've not yet joined the channel and would like to consider doing so. Meanwhile, going back to what happened last week and what we expect to happen this coming week, well, gold fell $16, falling from $1,849 to $1,833. Having been as high as $1,852 and as low as $1,812, a fall of 0.9%, following a previous week's fall of 4%. In sterling terms, gold finished at £1,498, that's down £19, and in euros it closed at €1,732, that's down €18. Silver fell 60 cents, falling from $22.20 to $21.60. Having been as high as $22.27 and as low as $20.71. A fall of 2.7%, and that again follows a significant fall of 5.8% the week before. In sterling terms, silver's down 54 pence at 17.69, and in euros it's down 0.59 euros at 20.44 euros. Of course, the gold-to-silver ratio went up and has risen from 83.3 to 1 to 84.9 to 1. Now the difference between gold's high and low was $40, which is half of the previous week's 83, and the difference between silver's high and low was $1.56, similar to the previous week's $1.53. Now this is what we said last week concerning our forecast. Our best estimate or assessment for this coming week is to see gold trade between $1,800 and $1,900, which it did very comfortably, putting no pressure on either the base or the top of that scale, though early in the week, when it hit 1812, there was the possibility we may have seen it look towards our outlier range. Silver, we said, would trade between 21.75 and 23, with 21.25 to 23.50 as outliers. We were a little bit too positive for silver in a way, because it did fall below the bottom of our outlier range by some 81 cents. But closed well within it by the end of the week. Now looking at other financials, Bitcoin is just shy of $28,000, so it's up $1,010 on the week. Equities were slightly changed in that the Dow Jones closed down 100 points at 33,407. The S&P was up 20 points at 4,308. The Nasdaq up 212 at 13,431. And the FTSE 100 index down 114 at 7,494. Fortunately, oils took a hit. Brent crude closed at $84.58, down $7.62, and WTI crude closed at $82.79, down $8 on the week. Let's see it move into $70 territory. The dollar index stands at 106.04, and that's down 0.13 points on the week. Now, in terms of economic data last week, September's manufacturing PMIs were marginally higher than August and higher than expected. The ADP employment report for September came in stronger than anticipated, but the figures were similar to that of August. Factory orders were much higher at a positive 1.2% for August, and initial jobless claims marginally lower than anticipated. The US employment report came in at almost twice the figure predicted, at 336,000 new jobs, compared with expectations of 170,000, though the unemployment rate actually held steady at 3.8%. Hourly wages year over year were lower at a positive 4.2%, compared with 4.3% the previous month. I think the market has perhaps taken that latter news perhaps too positively, because 336,000 new jobs is a considerable number, bearing in mind the state of the employment market is already approaching what would normally be deemed full employment, or close to it. Now, this coming week, we have some crucial data, Wednesday and Thursday particularly. On Wednesday, we have the Producer Price Index for September, and on Thursday, the CPI figures and core CPI, with both expected to provide a reading of 0.3% for September. Remember, we have PCE and CPI measuring inflation. We've had the PCE figures, now we'll have the CPI ones. And on Friday, we have the Import Price Index. Let's talk a little more about gold and silver. We stated last week, quote, gold has been hit by a stronger dollar for sure, but also from the announcement by the Fed that we're now likely to have higher interest rates for longer than anticipated, unquote. With economic data coming in so strongly, unless the CPI figures are much better than expected, we can still expect to see another interest rate rise likely in December or early in the new year. Now, whilst we believe they should go up at the next FOMC meeting in early November, the Fed is paranoid about not tipping the US economy into a recession. We don't believe that they would. So we are still likely to see rates unchanged. But let's wait for the CPI figures. The job figures will continue to add pressure to gold and silver prices until we know for sure that not only will rates not rise further, but also a clear insight as to when they're actually going to begin to fall, which for the moment seems an ever-distant prospect. Gold has strong support at 1800 and now seems to have strong resistance at 1900. We can see it more likely to fall below 1800 than rise above 1900 over the next few weeks, unless, once again, forgive me for repeating myself, the CPI figures are extremely good. Silver has been an absolute investment dog in recent weeks, with so many bulls advocating above $27 silver soon, just a couple months ago. It's doing all that it can not to dip to our predictive low of $20. Whilst a growing economy should be good for silver on the industrial demand side, the rest of the Western world is not experiencing the sort of growth the US is currently. There may be a short-term bounce simply because of the depth silver has plummeted recently, but once again, as far as we're concerned, it's not an exciting play just yet. So where is our prediction lying for this coming week? Well, we still expect gold, sorry about this, it's rather boring, to trade between 1800 and 1900, with possible dip down to 1775 or a rise to 1925, though we will be a little surprised if it does go above 1900, quite frankly. And silver we expect to trade between 2050 and 2250, $2 spread. And at the extremes, a $3 spread of $20 to $23 as outliers. What do you think? Please do share your thoughts. Meanwhile, we'd appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Also, not forget, please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to Finances Do Matter. And meanwhile, we wish you a safe, enjoyable weekend. And as we repeat week after week, a prosperous week ahead.